1, we set up a glass door and we set it up as an inventory part. We told QuickBooks we have one of these on hand. What we want to do now is order 3 more so that we end up having 4 on hand. That way if we need them, they're already available. Let's go ahead and create a purchase order so that we can track from the time we order these doors till the time they come in the door. Here's where you're going to create a purchase order. Notice it's on the same line as sales orders and estimates because it's considered a non-posting transaction. You can create a purchase order all day long, and if the items never come in the door, it doesn't really affect your books. You'd have to run special purchase order reports to see how many are open, what's been received, etc. Let's go ahead and create this purchase order. The first thing QuickBooks wants to know is who is the vendor. We're going to order these from Perry Windows and Doors. We'll go ahead and choose the class remodel, and if you're going to have Perry drop ship these to your client's job site, then you can pick it from the list. If not, you can leave that blank. The template that's currently being used is called Custom Purchase Order Template. It will pull in the current date. You can choose whichever date you like here. It will also pull in the next purchase order number, and you can change that if you need to. Here's your vendor information and your ship to information, which is your company name and address. What we're going to do is underneath the item column, we're going to pull the list down and we're going to pick the items that we're ordering, in this case glass doors. If Perry Windows and Doors has a particular description they use, maybe a part number, things like that, you might want to go ahead and put all that in this description here. Next is a quantity. We'll put in 3, and then is the rate. That rate is pulled from, when you actually set up an item, this 500 is pulled from the cost you put in. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'll go back to the item list, and I'll just double click on Glassdoor to show you that this is where it's pulling that cost from. If you happen to be getting these for a different price, then you can go ahead and change that. Let's say they were on sale this week, and that's why we picked up 3 of these. If you change the cost, QuickBooks will pop up and ask you if you want to record that new cost permanently, or if you just want to leave this, you can. We'll just hit cancel there. The next thing is, if you're ordering this for a particular customer and job, you can choose it from the list. But if it's just to put in the warehouse, just leave that blank. You can see that QuickBooks automatically calculates the amount for you as well. That's your 3 times 475. If you have additional items you want to order, you can go ahead and put those here as well. A couple of options down the bottom left. Notice you have a place you can put a vendor message and a place for a memo if you have something specific to say. On the right hand side, you'll see your total, which is $1,425. When you place an order, you're not going to see any tax because you haven't actually paid for this yet. You're just ordering the actual items. That will come into play a little bit later. Let's head up to the top and see if there are any new options under the main tab. Here's your find option, which you're familiar with at this point. You can search forwards or backwards for a particular purchase order you might be looking for. Here's your new option. If you want to create a new blank purchase order, that will also save this one. You can save this as a purchase order in QuickBooks or as a PDF. Here's where you could create a copy. You might need one very similar to this. You could create that one and then make any changes you need. And if it's something that you order on a regular basis, you can go ahead and memorize that, and we'll talk about that in a later section. Here's where you can print. I'll give you a preview of what purchase orders look like. You can see when I zoom in, it just says purchase order right here, and it has all of the information on that purchase order. Let me close that. You can also email this to your vendor. There's your print later and email later. We've talked about those before. If you have these selected later, you can print or email a batch of purchase orders. You could attach a file here. You could also create an item receipt. That's actually going to be the next thing on the flowchart that we do. Chances are you won't be here when you receive those items, but if you happen to be here, you could do it from this button right here. You could also select item receipts. Again, we don't have any item receipts yet because we haven't received those items. That'll be next. You can also view the vendor price right here. The next tab is your formatting tab. A lot of these are used for creating custom purchase orders, which we're going to do in a later section. Make sure you bring your spell check. You can insert a line. That means wherever you're clicked, the line can go above the one you're clicked on. You can delete the line you're clicked on or copy that line. And this has more to do with designing custom templates. There are some reports you can run for purchase orders. Here's one I mentioned earlier, open purchase orders. Those are any purchase orders you have not received everything from yet. You can also see these by job. You can look at them by item detail, maybe see just an item listing, and then there's purchases by vendor detail. These are some of your quick reports and your transaction history reports right over here. The last tab is your search tab, which is new to this version. If you wanted to search this purchase order for particular words, you could type it here and it would search this purchase order for you. Most everything you'll use will be under the main tab. That's a quick, easy way to set up your purchase orders in QuickBooks. After you've created a purchase order, those items will come into your store and you want to go ahead and receive them into inventory. Let's go ahead and head over to video number 4 and I'll show you how to get started adding those items into your inventory.